Welcome back, everyone. Actually, I stumbled upon this Raspberry Pi board under my bed and I thought, why don't I put Linux on it and try some C programming? And so that's what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to walk you through a very simple C program and look at what actually happens when we turn it into an executable file. So let's get started. Before we start, I'm going to plug this power cable on my board. Alright guys, first things first, we need to make the C file and write down some code. Printf hello Linux. And I'm gonna save this file. And to compile this program, we need to use the GCC compiler, so write down the hello C, and I'm gonna make this hello executable file. So we can find this hello executable file. If we execute it, it says hello Linux. So it really works. So far, it is very simple, but now I have a question. When we type this command, how did hello C becomes this executable file, which is hello? So what actually really happens inside of this GCC compiler? So let's take a closer look. GCC has several options, so you could simply memorize which option produces which file. So this option is for this file and that option is for that file. But instead, I want to briefly walk through the overall compilation process, as you can see, so you can understand what GCC is actually doing. So we start with our C source file hello.c. The first thing GCC does is pre-processing. This gives us hello.i, which is our pre-processed source file. Then comes compilation. Our pre-processed code is translated into a assembly code, which we can see in hello.s. And after that, we have assembly. The assembly code is turned into a object file, which is hello.o. And finally, linking takes place. The object file is linked with everything it needs, and we get our final executable a file, hello. And what about the O option? It simply let us choose the name of the output file. So we specify the file name, whatever we want. So for example, if we type in this command like we did in the previous a few minutes ago, we can tell GCC to create the output file and call it hello. Normally, GCC handles all of this, entire stages for us automatically, but for learning purposes, we're going to go through them one by one. So let's see what actually happens in the terminal. First things first, we have the executable file, as you can see. So I'm gonna erase this file first. Let's start with the pre-processing. So to make the pre-processed file, we need to use the E option, hello.c. I'm going to specify this file name as hello.i. And if we take a look at this, the type of this file, it is still a C source file, but if we take a closer look, it is the pre-processed file, as you can see. And to make the assembly file, we need to use the S option. And I'm going to specify the file name as hello.s. So if we take a look at this type of this file, it says the assembler source code, the source file, I mean. And so as you can see, this file is a assembly file. To make the object file, we need to use the C option, and I'm gonna call it hello.o. And if I check out this type of this file, it is the object file, as you can see, and I'm gonna see how it looks like. This is the binary file, so we cannot understand what it says. And lastly, I'm gonna make the executable file by linking all this together, hello.o, and I'm gonna call it hello. As you can see, there are the same executable file that we saw a few minutes ago. And if I execute this file, it says hello Linux, as we anticipated. That's pretty much all of it in today's episode. The reason why I made this video is because I actually learned about this whole compilation process myself not too long ago. And so I wanted to share what I learned with you and keep learning together. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on my next one. Bye guys.